Welcome to Rebel Chaser. My name is Gail, and I've got several videos for you again tonight. The first one is with a new judge. Her name is Judge Martinez Gonzalez from Texas. And then I've got a couple from Judge McNally. I've got another one from another sort of new judge. I know I've done one of hers before, but Judge Brown in Texas. And then one from Conneaut. I don't know where is that? I don't know if that's Ohio or Illinois. I'm really not positive what state that is. And then I've got a couple traffic matters with Judge Norbert and Judge Chisholm. Those are both pretty funny, so I'll let you guys watch.
Okay, this court will call cause number 2024 DCM 1641. We are here today, June 4th, 2025. It's 12:08 in the afternoon. I am Judge Phyllis Martinez Gonzalez. I am the presiding Title 40 judge for Court 44 here in El Paso County. The pleading that is before this court is a petition to establish the parent-child relationship. May I have announcements, please?
Jessica Sprague for the state of Texas. State's ready to proceed. Partial agreement and two contested matters.
Okay. Let the record reflect that Mr. Damian Bonner is present. He is representing himself in this legal action. And we also have Ms. Sophia Garcia. She too is present and representing herself. Ms. Garcia, are you ready to proceed today, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Bonner, are you ready to proceed today, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Both of you, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you provide this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. You can lower your hand. Ms. Sprague.
Thank you, Judge. The state would first ask the court take judicial notice of the file and all of its contents, specifically the original petition, the temporary orders, agreed temporary order establishing parent-child relationship and suit affecting parent-child relationship AOP, signed on or about October 15th, 2024, as well as the agreed additional temporary orders in suit affecting parent-child relationship AOP, signed on or about January 31st of 2025.
This court will take judicial notice of all documents within the court's file, excuse me, specifically the original petition to establish the parent-child relationship and suit affecting the parent-child relationship AOP. In addition, this court will further take judicial notice of the two temporary orders. First was rendered on or about October 15th, 2024. Second temporary order was rendered on or about January 31st of 25.
Your Honor, the parties have conferred and have a partial agreement for the court that the temporary orders and additional temporary orders previously agreed to will become the final orders of the court. The parties have also agreed that Mr. Bonner will have a standard possession order included as part of the final order. The remaining issues for the court's, Judge, the parties also agree that a retroactive child support judgment or finding prior to any direct payment credit would total for the period of 24 months would be $17,736. The issue for the court today is what credit, if any, to provide against any judgment taken for direct payments provided and alleged, as well as geographic restriction. State calls Damian Bonner. Mr. Bonner, did you hear and understand the agreement that I read into the record?
Yes.
Okay, and those terms that I represented as our agreements, are those your agreements?
Yes.
And you believe that those would be in the best interest of your child?
Well, no, because I had what I gave her was the 6,000, which I.
Okay, we're not talking. We're just talking about what we
Sorry.
agreed to. You think what we agreed to is in the best interest of your child?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you requesting a geographic restriction be placed on Damian Bonner's residence?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because Miss Garcia likes to travel, and she likes to travel while she's already gone somewhere. She tells me like, "Oh, well, by the way, like we're here," and I don't get a heads up about it until after the fact that they're already gone.
Now,
So I would like to know if she wants. If she wants to travel somewhere, I would like to know beforehand.
So is it so much where the child would live? You want it defined to a geographic area, or you want Miss Garcia's ability to travel restricted?
Well, she can travel all she wants, but would like to know where my child's at.
Okay.
If
Are
she's
you
gonna take my child.
are you requesting that the child's residence, so where the child lives, be restricted to any defined area like El Paso or any county that touches El Paso?
Yeah, because she won't leave. So yes.
Now, we've calculated 24 months of retroactive child support judgment before any credits to be that $17,000 figure I mentioned. Did you give Ms. Garcia some direct payments for this child?
Yes.
And how much do your records indicate that you provided her?
It came out to 6,000.
$6,242?
Yes, ma'am.
And what were those payments for?
For him, for stuff that he needed for school and all of that. And then I got to the point where I got tired of it, so I just ended up just buying his stuff for school, and that became an issue with her.
And when you gave her any of those monies, was it for anything else?
No.
So was your understanding it was all for and to be used for the support of your child?
Yes, that was my understanding.
Okay. And you're asking the court to grant you credit towards the retroactive child support amount and after credit, take a retroactive child support judgment in the amount of $11,494.
Yes.
And regardless of any judgment taken, you're in agreement to paying any sort of retroactive child support judgment back at a rate of $139 monthly.
Yes.
Is there anything else you want to make sure the judge is aware of here today with regards to that geographic restriction or retroactive child support?
No.
Once the judge makes a ruling, we'll draft an order that reflects that ruling. Are you okay if we submit that order directly to the court and just ensure that you receive a copy?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Garcia, do you have any questions of this witness?
As far as
Do you have questions of this witness? He's a witness and you have the ability to ask questions.
yes, ma'am, I do.
Okay, ask Mr. Bonner a question.
Do you remember me having to ask you and you not providing money for our child?
Yes, that's what came out. That's why I stopped giving you the money. And then that's like I said, that became an issue when I just started buying it. I said that.
Any other questions, Ms. Garcia?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Sprague?
State calls Sophia Garcia.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Garcia, did you hear and understand the agreement that I read into the record?
Yes.
And are the parts that I indicated to the court were our agreements, are those your agreements?
Yes.
And you've heard Mr. Bonner's request for a geographic restriction. Are you asking that the court not impose any sort of geographic restriction?
Yes.
And why is that?
As far as work, long term, not sure if they will hold me here or if I will be sent somewhere else. So I wanted to get the approval from him to go ahead and move with our child
Do you
in
have
the
any
near future if that happens.
Do you have any plans or any immediate possibilities of that occurring in the near future?
Within maybe the next 4 years.
Now, with regard to the retroactive child support, you heard Mr. Bonner testify that he alleges he's given you a total of $6,242. Did you receive that money?
Yes, as far as use, it was personal.
We'll get there. So you did receive the $6,242.
Yes.
And what portion of that do you believe was specifically for the support of this child?
1,100 and $63.
And how did you arrive at that number?
I do remember going back and having to ask and receive what it was for. He did provide it. Before that, anything else was personal.
Okay. And the difference between those two figures is pretty significant.
Correct.
What was that other money for?
There are tax returns. He had the
I'm
money
sorry,
and he
Miss
gave me the portion.
Miss
Oh.
Garcia, if you could repeat your answer, I couldn't, it got all garbled up.
It's okay. Some of the money that was returned to me was from our tax return when we did them together. He gave me my portion. As far as personal use, it was for, I wasn't working at the time when we had our child, so it was for gas, and then for me to go get hair done or eyelashes done, things like that.
Okay. And how much was that your share of the tax return you guys shared?
I would have to go back and look at that.
Do you have a rough idea?
About 1,500.
So the other $3,500 that you indicated was not for the child, those were for other personal expenses of yours that he provided?
Yes.
And you're asking that he not be given credit for those additional monies?
Correct.
Is there anything else you want to make sure that the judge is aware of here today before we ask her to make her rulings?
I was notified that he is working. If I had a question, if we could go ahead and garnish wages, considering that he has not been paying the child support.
I can answer any questions that you have, or one of our child support officers will after the
Okay.
fact, and that will be addressed. But is there anything else you want to make sure the judge is aware of before we ask her to make her rulings?
No.
And once the judge makes her rulings, I'll draft an order that reflects those rulings. Are you okay if I submit that order directly to the court without you first having to review and sign it?
Yes.
Pass the witness.
Mr. Bonner, do you have any questions of this witness?
Yes.
Ask your question.
When it came down to the 6,000, was that for just Damien or was that for Damien and Nova?
That was for DJ and Nova.
Any other questions, Mr. Bonner?
No.
Thank you. Ms. Sprague,
State rest and close.
go ahead.
Your Honor, the state's requesting that the court approve the agreements of the parties or to a geographic restriction as the court deems in the best interest of the child here. I have several calculations for retroactive child support after any credit for direct payments. If the court would like to make a ruling on whatever the court feels is in the best interest of the child here, I can provide the child support judgment after credit. Once I have that ruling, that might be the easier way to do instead of me giving 6 different numbers.
Mhm.
And then I believe we need an order on whether for Mr. Bonner to be assessed to pay court costs or for the court to consider a waiver.
Ms. Garcia, is there anything else you would like to address the court at this time, ma'am?
Just about that child support, Your Honor.
The withholding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Mr. Bonner, is there anything you would like to address the court at this time?
No, ma'am.
And Ms. Sprague, with the credit that was testified by Mr. Bonner, and if I understood correctly, it was if I were to give him credit, it would be $11,940.
$494.
$494. $494. Okay, transpose it. $11,494.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from the state then?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Based on the testimony and evidence before this court, I will confirm the agreement as it was recited on the record here today, and it will now become the order of this court. I am going to order that there will be a geographic restriction to El Paso County and its contiguous counties absent any mutual agreement. Also, I will grant a judgment for retroactive child support, giving credit, and that amount will be $11,494. I believe the agreed payment was $139, all obligations to begin July 1st of 2025. And court costs will be assessed to Mr. Bonner. Unless there's anything else, Ms. Bragg, that will conclude the hearing.
Cosby, Elisa Ann Cosby, 24B147119.
Good afternoon, Your Honor, to you and your staff attorney, Maxwell Dubin, P number 86012, on behalf of Ms. Cosby, approaches and stands to my left.
Ma'am, your name?
Elisa Cosby.
You can come up here, sir. Go right over there. This will be a plea to disorderly person with a plea to be taken under 771.1.
Correct, Your Honor. That is our intent here today. I have had ample time to go over that plea with my client, explain everything to her, talk to the prosecutor. She does intend to avail herself to that offer here today.
If you plead to disorderly, and I want you to know, I need a factual basis.
Of course.
I don't want to just have somebody tell me I was loud. Okay? I'm just telling you. So I need a factual basis. I'm so sick of hearing people say I got a little loud when it was a retail fraud or something. I need a factual basis either on the original charge or a legitimate factual basis on the added count. I just want everybody to be aware of that. If you plead guilty to this charge disorderly under section 771.1, I'm going to take it under 771. I'm going to place you on probation for 3 months. And if you're compliant, the case will be dismissed on motion of the prosecutor. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Did you sign, read, and understand the advice of rights?
Yes.
If you plead guilty, you'll be giving up all those rights and there will not be a hearing or a trial. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Your name, sir?
Justin Coyle, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have any questions before we go on? Questions?
I have questions. This has been ongoing for a long time. How like 3 months slapped on the wrist has put me in jail for false accusations, and I almost lost my CPL over this, you name it. She just was doing this here today, like make a big commotion with bailiffs, last time with the bailiffs here. It's gonna, I mean, it's like against my own rights that like, I just stay away from her, I don't talk to her, and she is suction cup to me to like cause hell on me and my family.
Hang on a second. Slow down.
I'm just confused how she can lie to the court, you for one.
Hang on a second. Slow down. Just wait a second. Prosecutor made their determination that this was a fair and amicable resolution. I don't supplant my judgment for them. A lot of times they're too tough, in my view. A lot of times they're too easy. I try not to get involved in what they do. Unless there's something unethical about it, I don't. Okay? So that's what they've agreed on. She's got a clean record, right?
Absolutely.
She's got a clean record.
She gets tons of these cases, but she keeps getting dismissed, slapped on the wrist. If that would be me, it's like,
No, these are irrelevant.
if it wasn't fair, I would be in jail right now. I don't understand how it works. I just want to know how the system works. That's all I want to know. I just want to know, if I lie to you, is this how it works?
Would you let me answer? Her criminal history is negative. There's nothing on here. There's nothing on here. She's got a speeding ticket at some point, 2, 3 speeding tickets in the last 5 years. That's all I see. Now, I don't know what to tell you.
There's a pending case.
Sir. Sure. Prosecutors analyze a lot of different things when they make decisions, just like defense lawyers and defendants do. I personally cannot believe that you two are brother and sister. Well, I just can't. I've not seen this much animosity between a brother and a sister in a long time, but I can't say that that's shocking either. In other words, I seem that everybody's angry with everybody, it seems like now. I shouldn't embellish like that, but a lot of people have a lot of anger. And I just kind of wonder why they even want to go through this crazy thing called life. I mean, we're not here that long. We're angry all the time. What good is it? I mean, I'd rather go get involved in a fight with a lion somewhere.
At this point, I just don't.
Listen.
I just don't feel like living anymore. but this is, it's crazy.
Listen. Did you express this to the prosecutor?
She's just trying to push it. She gets pushed along, and this is how it works. I mean, I've got so many cases. Since the last time I've seen you, I've been dealing with nothing but false police reports after false police reports. Jeff Watson's working on one right now. Since we've seen you, you told her not to have no contact with me. I got videotapes of me in front of judges with all these crazy stuff. Like, I don't talk to her. I want nothing to do with her. My family suffer. I'm being chased around town in company vehicles for false accusations. See, in front of the police station, getting almost losing my CPL. I can't even ride off my own gun, and I have a CPL holder. How do I don't even want to live. How do I live like that?
Come on.
How do you live like that?
Come on.
I can't.
Come on.
How do you live? I just need to know.
Just let's settle down a second.
I'm just confused. I just don't know how it works. She lies to me about your address. I would never lie to you.
All right, Mr. Cole. I've heard enough. I don't dictate what they do. Did you hear what I said 5 minutes ago? Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Did you understand what I'm saying? I'm not the prosecutor. I'm not.
I get it.
Don't argue with
I'm not
me.
arguing, but this is gonna sound like someone really gets hurt. That's what it's gonna sound like. Because that's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get hurt by a cop or police officer, and that's what she's going for. That's when it's gonna eventually be done. Other than that, it is what it is.
Time out on the field, okay? I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not the prosecutor.
3 months probation is not enough.
I'm not the prosecutor.
I'm the victim. And so is my family. And we're sick of it.
Now, don't get disrespectful with me, okay?
I'm telling you how I feel.
I get it. I wouldn't be excited about it either.
I've been locked up in front of my kids. I've been put in jail for this. And been found
They
guilty.
put you in jail on
I've
this?
been, for different accusations, yes, that's leading up to this. I've been in jail, I've been chased by police with my kids in the car, my kids are suffering from this, like.
I don't find any of this amusing either. I gotta be honest with you. I would not be amused either.
I got 3 little girls, I'm scared.
All right, Mr. Cole, Mr. Cole. Okay, just settle down. I don't know what to say. I'm not gonna block this plea. And ultimately, if I want, I can take this and make it a longer probationary term. Do I usually do that? No. No, I don't. Not when the parties agree to it. Oftentimes they don't agree. They leave that blank for me to determine. But you understand that I can do that, right, Ms. Cosby? And you understand that.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I want you to settle down, Mr. Cole. Please. Nobody is condoning illegal conduct. Let me take the plea and I will go from there. Do you understand the possible penalties?
Absolutely, yes,
Do you understand your rights?
yes,
You signed them today, right?
yes,
And you've read them.
yes.
You went over them with your lawyer.
Yes,
If you plead guilty, you're going to be giving up all those rights and we will not have a trial of any kind. You understand that?
yes,
Now, you still wish to plead guilty.
yes,
Mr. Dugan, I hope you understood what I said. I'm going to ask you now, how do you plead to the charge of disorderly conduct?
guilty,
What did you do on October 16 of 24 on King at or near 23125 King Road in Brownstown at 1:00 p.m. that makes you guilty of disorderly conduct?
May I voir dire my client, Your Honor?
I want her to answer me. Meaning, what did you do that makes you guilty of disorderly conduct?
I reported a crime, I was hysterical,
Did you report a crime knowing that the crime did not occur?
no, I did not,
Yeah, Your Honor, if they do a disorderly conduct plea, I would rather her plead of factual.
I just don't want to hear, listen.
I understand.
Man, I got a little loud. I've been guilty of disorderly conduct 1,000 times in my life if the definition is just getting a little loud. So you want to have at it, but I'm going to give you a chance for a factual basis.
Of course.
If there's none, we are setting this for trial.
Absolutely. I think I know one.
Go ahead.
On the date and time in question, the Lee Browns.
Yes,
And at that time, did you call Brownstown Police Department?
yes,
And did you call them, letting them know that you were under the impression that your brother pointed a gun at you?
yes,
And after officers arrived at that scene, were you disorderly with them?
yes,
And were you combative with them?
I guess,
I don't want you to guess. We're not in
Yes.
jeopardy. What
Yes.
did you do?
I guess I was loud.
I don't want you to guess.
I
This
was
is
loud.
not,
I'm sorry.
we're not guessing what 38,972 times 493 is without a calculator. I want to know whether you think you were disorderly, and if so, in what way?
Yes, I was loud.
I don't want to hear, be specific. I'm loud right now.
I'm gonna get there, Your Honor, I promise. I think I know what you're looking for. And by the disorderly and loud, when you confronted officers, were you yelling and screaming at them?
Yes,
And was that about body cam, whether there was body cam or not?
yes,
And did you give them a hard time?
yes,
Why were you yelling and screaming at them? Tell me. I'm asking a question.
because I was scared.
You were scared, so you were yelling and screaming at the police? Is that the way you displayed your
Yes,
anger is by, or being scared is by screaming and yelling at the police? Is that what you were doing?
yes.
What were you saying specifically to them?
I don't remember. It was,
Were you swearing at them?
no, I wasn't
Were
swearing.
you yelling at them about the fact that they weren't arresting Mr. Cole?
No,
What were you yelling at them about?
I was yelling at them to look at the cameras for what had happened.
And you were yelling at them?
Yes.
How many of them were there?
I don't remember, and at first there was a couple and then more came. I don't remember like totally how many.
Are you on probation right now?
No,
Parole?
No.
Anybody force you to plead guilty?
no,
Next question. Are we talking about the same case? Or are we talking about something different?
Talking about the same case. The plea is not going to be to false information to,
I reported, I didn't remember yelling at the police one time. I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
I reported the whole incident. I don't remember yelling at the police one time.
Her?
I remember yelling at the police one time. I had the whole thing.
She wouldn't lie to me out here.
You all have body cam.
You lied about her address. Yeah, she was.
All right.
Your Honor, I gotta make an objection.
Hang on a second.
For the record.
Hang on.
You checked the other back.
Hang on. When I say hang on, I mean don't talk. Am I not clear about that? I'm not shocked that you two are involved in this. Ms. Cosby, look, I'm taking their plea. What I just heard, there's a factual basis for the plea. Period. That's it. I'm ordering a pre-sentence report. I'm ordering a sentence date. Everybody can come back. I'm making a note, no promise regarding length of time. I know you think she's getting away with length of time of probation. I know you think she's getting away with a lot, but she's got a clean record. She has a clean record. Don't call me McNally. Don't call me McNally. I'm a judge and I deserve the respect that goes along with that. I've been here for 30 years. Don't call me McNally. I go by what's on the record, what kind of convictions there are. Of course, some people commit crimes and get away with it.
Judge.
Ma'am, I have heard enough right now. Be seated, please. I've heard enough.
No, you haven't.
Folks, it's been a long day. It's 3:35. I am tired. I've had other things going in the building. And I'm not going to listen to people talk back to me. I'm telling you. No, I don't even know who you are. And you're not a witness and you're not a party here. So no, the answer is no. Who is this, Mr. Dubin?
Your Honor, this is my client's mother.
She shouldn't be talking either. She want to talk in favor of her daughter? We can go around the whole courtroom here and everybody can tell me how great that she is or he is or how bad the other one is. I don't know what to tell you guys. Mr. Cole, please stop shaking your head. Okay?
I'm being jailed for this, Your Honor.
Please stop shaking your head.
Yep.
I'm going to ask you one more time. The only sad tragedy is this is brother and sister. That's the only sad tragedy here.
That's true.
That's a sad, sad, sad tragedy, if you ask me. How many brothers and sisters you have?
Me. I have 3 brothers and 1 sister.
How about you?
Same.
Well, so now you really only got 3 brothers or 2 brothers and 1 sister because you're not talking to the one. And you only have 2 brothers and 1 sister because we know you're not talking to one. I don't know who else is involved in the Hatfield and McCoys here. If somebody is making accusations of criminal behavior by somebody else, that's a no-no. That's a no-no. That's a no-no. Now, you have no proof at this point that this man was pointing a gun at you. You can say all you want. During one of the sidebars in here, I was told that the police searched the car after and didn't find a gun. Now, I don't know how a gun disappears unless this is old reruns of Bewitched. So something's not right.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Your Honor.
You made an accusation that he pointed a gun at you. In the chambers, when I met with the preceding lawyer that you had, Mr. Baldwin, who's court appointed, and the prosecutor, I believe it was made known to me that the police, they said, I think the prosecutor said that the police looked inside the vehicle, Mr. Cole's, and did not find a gun. Now, I don't know how somebody can have a gun if the police are there and they search the vehicle and they don't find a gun. They don't miss things like that. I guess it's possible. But that doesn't bode well for there being a gun.
Your Honor, this would be a
Hang on.
trial of he say, she say.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But everybody wants to act like they're so right here.
Not me, Your Honor, I'm just trying to, I know, I think what you're trying to get done here. I see what.
Well, I know what I'm trying to get done is get out of here for the day pretty soon. That's what I'm trying to do, so I don't have to deal with this nonsensical garbage. That's why.
I understand.
What's the date for sentencing, Lisa?
June 18th at 8:30.
Now, I'm telling you, you have any contact with him, ma'am, before I come back, whether in writing, by phone, by having somebody else talk to him in direct contact or indirect contact or by any means of communication, I'm telling you, bring your toothbrush. Because you will be going to jail for a lengthy period of time. Do we understand one another?
I understand you, and I would never go by him.
I would just like to put on the record, Your Honor, that contact.
And I would expect, even though there's not a no contact provision, because you're the victim, that you're not going to contact her.
I don't,
You understand?
yeah.
All right. Pre-sentence report, sentence date. I don't know if they can do it. They'll try to get you done today, so you don't have to come back. Or they'll figure it out. Give me you got June 18th at 8:30. Go down the hall, get
Is it
your.
1:30 or 8:30? I think she said 1:30.
8:30.
8:30 a.m. Okay.
Is that good with you?
So let me just make sure. I'll make it work.
I can make it later if you're coming from 3 or 4 hours away, Ms. Cosby. Want me to make it later?
If you could.
Let's make it 10:30. How's that? 10:30 a.m. And you certainly have the right to show up. I wish all of you would leave the animosity at the door, though. I'll see everybody back here then. Good luck. Elizondo.
Cause number 41E2502448, Burwell Shank Properties versus Margaret Spain Cox and all occupants, or Span Cox.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. How much is the monthly rent, please?
The monthly rent is $13.25, Your Honor, but this eviction is conduct-based. It doesn't have anything to do with non-payment of rent, although that will be addressed later.
Is there any subsidy?
Pardon me?
Subsidy?
Yes, it is a subsidized. Ms. Bancox pays, as of June, it changed. Her portion of the rent is $348 per month. The city of San Antonio pays $977.
I just need all that for appellate purposes. All right, so she has violated the lease with conduct.
Yes, and I had an attorney prepare my notice to vacate and the petition for eviction, but I'm in the, to save attorney cost, I'm representing myself, so I'm withdrawing my request for the $750 in attorney fees. I have a copy of the lease for you and for Ms. Bancox.
And what are you, what did she violate?
Okay, so I'm going to be addressing paragraphs 5, 14, 18, and 22 of the lease. First, I'll start with paragraph 5, and it's the last sentence of that paragraph.
Okay.
Tenant shall comply with any and all laws, ordinances, rules, and orders of any and all governmental or quasi-governmental authorities affecting the cleanliness, use, occupancy, and preservation of the premises. So Ms. Bancox had the police called on her on April 13th, 2025. It was reported to me that Ms. Bancox went to her neighbor's home and with very aggressive words and actions accused her neighbor of her dog. The police were called and an officer arrived on the scene. I have a copy of the police report here for both you and Ms. Bancox. According to this police report, it was determined that there was no way the neighbor could have been Miss Bancox's dog, and that it was most likely Miss Bancox's larger dog that her smaller dog. It was also reported to me that Miss Bancox returned to the neighbor's home after the police officer had departed and kept knocking on the neighbor's door. The neighbor did not answer the door but called the police again. Miss Bancox departed the area before the police arrived, so a police report was not generated from that incident. In addition, it was reported to me that the following morning, Miss Bancox came to the same neighbor's front door when she was crossing the street, called out to her and introduced herself. I have that neighbor, next door neighbor, Miss Teresa Lang here, with whom that altercation happened, and I'd like her to add her testimony right now.
Yes.
Okay.
On that day, April 13th, she knocked on my door, very upset, rightly so. Her dog was deceased. I tried to explain to her, I didn't your dog. I'm sorry your dog passed. I didn't have anything to do with that. She tried to push her way into my property through the front door. That's, I have the police report, on dispatch for me telling her, get out of my house, get out of my house. she finally kind of left, and my sister back here and I were outside, and she pulled out of her driveway, stopped in front of the street, and proceeded to get out and hit my car with the tire iron, I guess. I don't know what it was. So I called the police again. They came. They weren't able to speak to her about that incident because she wasn't home. She drove off and didn't return until I don't know what time. But I have no reason to poison her dog. I have 3 dogs of my own. I have, cats. So I love animals. There's no reason for me to ever harm an animal. I like living where I'm living, but because of this incident and just, I'm kind of scared, for my car, to be verbally attacked or anything like that. I'm moving. Purchasing my own home. So it's sad, because I want to be cordial with my neighbors.
So since this incident, has Ms. Spancock shown any aggressive or offensive behavior towards you?
Not
calling you
since
names, nothing like that?
She'll flick us off and call us, but I mean.
So based on paragraph 5 of the lease, Ms. Spancock has not complied with all laws and ordinances as specified she should do so in the lease. And then move on to paragraph 14 in the lease. Landlord and landlord's agents shall have the right to at all reasonable times and by all reasonable means without notice during the terms of the lease agreement and any renewal thereof to enter the premises for the following purposes. And then it just lists the reasons that landlord can access the property. So on 2 occasions, Ms. Spancock has denied me access to the property. First, the homes on this street are on a 0 lot line. Anytime a homeowner needs to access the side of their home that sits on that lot line, they have to get into the neighbor's yard to access that side of their home. This situation occurred with the home next door, same neighbor. The homeowner contacted me that repairs were needed on the siding of her home that faced into my yard. She stated that Ms. Spancock had denied access to contractors that had gone to the property to do the work. I both texted and called Ms. Spancock to explain the 0 lot line situation and that the homeowner next door had no way to do repairs on the side of her home without getting into her yard. I told her I was giving them permission to do so. She became very upset and told me that she would not let anyone into the yard and that she would call the police if anyone tried to gain access to the yard. I offered that if it would allay her fears that strangers were on the property, I would personally be there while the contractors were present. She refused, saying these people were drivers and there would be nothing I could do to stop them should they want to get into the home. This first occurred mid-November of last year. Due to the holidays and the busyness of the season, the homeowner and I agreed to put this off until after the holidays. In mid-March, this issue was revisited when the homeowner again contacted me. I again reached out to Ms. Spancock and once again tried to explain the situation to her. Repeated attempts to explain the situation only increased her agitation. She continued to be upset as she had been when this situation originally occurred in November and vehemently refused contractors access to the property. No amount of explanation could convince Ms. Spancock that the contractors were there only to work on the neighbor's home. At one point, Ms. Spancock agreed to allow the contractors access to the backyard. I thanked her and then told her that she would be given adequate notice of when the contractors would be on the property. Within a few days, she began a series of delay tactics to keep anyone from accessing the property. The second occurrence of denying me access to the property happened just last month. It came to my attention that repairs were needed on my property. Ms. Spancock had contacted the inspections department of the Housing Authority saying that the property needed repairs. The inspections department notified me of this. I told them that Ms. Spancock had not made any request to me for any repairs. However, I reached out to, so the property was inspected. It failed inspection. There were 4 points that needed addressing. I attempted to reach Miss Spancox in order to have the needed repairs made. Miss Spancox ignored multiple texts and phone calls made both by myself and by my handyman to get the repairs done. It appeared, although I can't say for certain, but it appeared that she had blocked our phone numbers as we couldn't even leave a voicemail on her phone. I also mailed a letter to her by first-class mail and also posted the same letter on her front door asking her to please schedule a time to have the repairs done. All attempts to reach her were ignored. Because the property failed reinspection, the city of San Antonio will not pay their portion of the rent, and therefore, as of today, June rent is due. And so according to paragraph 14, Ms. Bancox has denied me reasonable access to my property. Paragraph 18. All right, there will be no animals unless authorized by separate written pet addendum to this residential lease. Tenants shall not permit any animal, including mammals, reptiles, birds, fish, rodents, or insects on the property, even temporarily, unless otherwise agreed by a separate written pet agreement. Referring back to the police report of April 13th, Ms. Bancox had 2 animals, dogs, on the property. According to the police report, the larger dog was aggressive enough to attack the smaller dog and cause its death. Such an animal could potentially be a menace to the neighbors. Also, I have no pet agreement with Ms. Bancox that would allow her to have dogs or any other animals for any period of time on the property. In this respect, Ms. Bancox has violated this clause of her lease. Last, paragraph 22, if tenant fails to comply with any of the material provisions of this lease agreement other than the covenant to pay rent or of any present rules and regulations over any that may be hereafter prescribed by landlord, or materially fails to comply with any duties imposed on tenant by statute within 7 days after delivery of written notice by landlord specifying the noncompliance and indicating the intention of landlord to terminate the lease by reason thereof, landlord may terminate this Texas lease agreement. So based on this statement, I propose that Ms. Bancox is in default of her lease agreement and request judgment in favor of her eviction be granted.
You should be an attorney. You're very prepared. All right, so you are seeking the rent for June.
For June.
And
And in fairness to Ms. Bancox, she always mails her portion of the rent to me to a PO box address that I maintain for the rental properties specifically. I have not received it, but it's also only the 3rd of the month, and she has until the 3rd of the month to pay it. Whether she's mailed it or not, I don't know, but the city of San Antonio always pays me on the 1st, and they have not because of the failed inspection.
Because it failed inspection. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. First of all, I want to show you where I got a abatement notice of housing assistance payments where they stopped the contract due to her not doing repairs. And
Okay.
she
That's fine, but
was
just-
trying
she
to
won't let
make
him
me lose my voucher. She refused to sign my my papers to move. So I did a request to move paper, and these allegations, she said, oh, she's also told the housing, and the housing said that she would have to prove it. She could not. And this
She
is
has a
my,
witness here, ma'am.
huh?
So,
Excuse
She has
me?
a witness here to prove it.
Okay, well, the police report, I called the police. They didn't call the police. I called them. And then there was two stray dogs running the neighborhood. When I came out, the dog was screaming and hollering. This lady and another dog, she was trying to catch the dog. So I believe that that dog killed the other dog. The other dog was so scared it ran in my house.
Okay.
And when the police got
We're
there,
not talking about the dogs right now.
I've never been late on.
You didn't allow the owner to make the repairs, so therefore she couldn't make the repairs.
That's not true. That's not true. I got the reports right here where they came April 30th, and I called her on the phone, and I told her first I told her about the the termites, because the termites had ate through the the bathroom.
Well,
And I
parents-
called her and I told her that the inspection had failed. She told me that she was on vacation with her family and they was in Dubai. She said, stop bothering her. And when she get a chance or when she gets back, she'll send somebody over. She never did. So another inspection, they gave her another 21 days to do her inspection, and she never complied. So that's where they did a final fail, and that's where we at today. And they canceled the contract because the house is not up to code. That's what it is. And it's like and then these are all lies. You know what I'm saying? She's saying that I tried to force my way into her house. Look how little I am. How I won't force my way into anywhere. These are all lies, Your Honor. You know what I'm saying? They're lies. But the housing told me to pay my portion of the rent, which I have already done. I have the receipt.
You mail it in?
Yes, I did. Here's the receipt. I've never been late on my rent. She's never had any problems with me, period, on paying anything. It's all started with these neighbors, which that neighbors is it's a drug house. They have activity going all day long, all night. They fighting, they partying. You know what I'm saying? and I'm supposed to let these people in my yard? That's not safe. I'm disabled. I have heart disease. I have 2 handicapped children. I mean, I was like in fear of the safety of me and my children.
All right, let me say something. You have dogs, right? You had 2 dogs and now you have
No,
a dog.
they're not. I don't have any dogs. I've never had no dogs.
That's what the police report says.
No, these 2 dogs would run through the neighborhood, and I used to feed them. I'm not gonna lie, I used to feed them. But when the little dog got attacked, it wasn't big, it was mid-sized. It ran into the house because it was scared, and I was scared for it too. When the police came, they asked me to see the dog. Later on, the person that owned the dog came down and got the dog. I never had a dog.
Okay. What do you want? Do you want any fees or monies, or you just want her out?
I just want her to leave.
Okay. All right.
And Your Honor, the housing said that to pay my portion, and I'm not responsible for their portion, and they said for me to be out by the date, which the date is June 30th.
All right. The court is going to rule in favor of the plaintiff.
Your Honor,
I'm making my ruling and you will have the right to appeal. The court is awarding court costs, post-judgment interest and possession of the property to the plaintiff. No monies, just possession, setting the appeal bond at $696. That's double the rent. I always double her rent. And you do have 5 days to appeal, okay? Good luck to you, ma'am.
but
Here,
I
Marisa,
can ask
will you
her a
put that in the
question?
file? All right.
so when do I have to be out?
You have 5 days, ma'am. Cause number 41E2502449, Hardy and Associates Realtor LLC versus Ashley Nicole Kelly.
That is not fair.
Paula Pitts, Paula Simone Pitts, 24B146982 A and B.
Thank you, Judge, and good morning. For the record, Your Honor, House Counsel, Attorney Mike Golden, P65417, on behalf of Ms. Pitts. Ms., can you just please state your full legal name for the record?
Paula Simone Pitts.
Judge, according to this docket, we're on a show cause for the expired plate civil infraction. I do believe that she is not in default under the driving while license suspended, and reportedly is going to start making payments on that.
She's in default on the expired plate.
Yes.
We've never resolved the misdemeanor, which I'm gonna send you to them today.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that, Judge.
She showed up November 20 of 24, she was arraigned. They asked for an adjournment, I adjourned it to December 4th. They asked for another adjournment, I adjourned it to the 18th. She didn't show up on December 18th. We rescheduled the show. We rescheduled the show cause for January 15th. She didn't show up then.
Your Honor, what I can do is.
Hang on a second.
Yes,
You
Judge.
stand mute. Does she stand mute, wait formal reading?
On the DWLS, yes, Judge.
Where you been, ma'am?
I didn't have a car to get here.
That means you may not have a car next time. That means I should have to set a cash bond, so we'll give you a ride. The police back there can give you a ride. Don't play with me. I didn't have a ride. You live in Taylor. You know what I'd do if I didn't have a ride? And I'm serious. If I got a seatbelt ticket and I needed to be there, I'd walk to Taylor. Don't play games with me. You have some money with you?
No.
You better. What made you come in here today out of curiosity? You haven't been here in months. What made you come in today?
Because I had a warrant for my arrest.
We've had a warrant for your arrest for a long time.
I got paper in the mail, so I decided to show up.
I decided to show up.
I'll go take care of the DWLS. We'll come back and we'll recall the case if that please support, Your Honor.
You don't endear yourself to judges when you pull this nonsense, Ms. Pitt. Do you understand?
Mrs. Fitz, Your Honor.
Fitz, I'm sorry, I mispronounced it. My apology. You still, Ms. Fitz, do not endear yourself to judges when you do this. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll go take care of it.
$500 personal bond, ma'am, you miss again, you better bring a lot of money with you. You cannot leave the state without consent or violate a law. You must appear in court as directed. You go talk to them, and then I'll work with her on this one, Mr. Bolton. If you resolve the initial one, I'll work with her on a payment plan on that,
All right, we
okay?
have that worked out.
Thank you.
Okay, the court is on the record in the City of Conway versus Kathy case number 25 CRB 133. This case is set for an initial appearance hearing. Ms. Case was actually scheduled to be here earlier today on a civil matter.
My glasses got broken. I was trying to get new ones and I thought it was 3:45.
Okay, Miss Case, let me talk, okay, please?
I'm sorry.
Okay. At the time of her initial or her civil case, which neither her or the plaintiff's counsel appeared, the court was going to arraign her on this new criminal charge. So she came late, and so I'm going to arraign her at this time. Ms. Case, a criminal charge has been filed against you. Have you received a copy of the complaint?
Just now, yes.
Okay, I'm going to read you your rights, so please pay attention to the rights I'm about to read to you. You do have a right to be informed of and understand the nature and the elements of the charge filed against you. You also have a right to know the potential penalties that could be imposed. You are charged with one count of making false alarms. That is a first-degree misdemeanor. If convicted of this offense, you face a maximum 6 months in jail and a maximum fine of $1,000. Do you understand the maximum potential penalties you face if convicted of this offense? You have a right to remain silent and not to say anything during this hearing that might incriminate yourself. Any statement you make could be used against you. You also have a right to a trial to the court. And because you are charged with an offense that carries a possible jail sentence, you also have a right to a jury trial, provided that you timely file with the court a written demand for a jury trial. At trial, you have the right to confront and ask questions of any witnesses who would testify against you. You also have a right to use the court process to secure the attendance of any witness who you would want to testify on your behalf. At trial, you have the right to be proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt and a right not to testify. You also have a right to have an attorney represent you, and because you are charged with an offense that carries a possible jail sentence, you do have a right to court-appointed counsel and to have a lawyer assigned to represent you only if you cannot afford one. If you do qualify for court-appointed counsel, there is a $25 application fee and a $50 cost reimbursement assessment that apply. You also have a right to a continuance of this initial appearance hearing in order to retain the services of your own attorney at your own expense or to consult with your own attorney. If you are convicted of this charge or any related offense, you have a right to appeal the conviction or sentence. That must be done within 30 days of the conviction, and you would be entitled to a court-appointed attorney in the Court of Appeals if you receive a jail sentence and cannot afford a lawyer. If you plead not guilty to this charge today, I will set your case for further proceedings after today, and I will set a bond. A bond is set by the court to ensure your appearance at all future proceedings, as well as to protect public safety. And today you have the right to a reasonable bond. If you are not a citizen of the United States, you're hereby advised that conviction of the offense to which you could be pleading guilty or no contest may have the consequences of deportation, exclusion from admission to the United States, or denial of naturalization pursuant to the laws of the United States. Now, in this case, you have 3 plea options that are available to you. You can either plead guilty, not guilty, or no contest. If you plead guilty, that is a complete admission by you to the offense charged. If you plead guilty, the court will find you guilty, and then I will impose sentence. The second option is you can plead not guilty. If you plead not guilty, that is a denial by you to the offense charged. And as I said earlier, if you plead not guilty, I will set your case for further proceedings after today, and I will set a bond. Okay, I understand that. We'll get to that. The third option is you can plead no contest. If you plead no contest, that is not an admission of your guilt, but it is an admission by you of the truth of the facts alleged in the complaint filed against you. If you enter a plea of no contest, this court will find you guilty, and I will impose sentence without any evidence being presented against you. However, the plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any later civil or criminal proceedings. In this case, did you understand all of the rights and plea options I've just explained? So. Okay. So with respect to this charge of making...
I've never done anything wrong in my life. I've never been a false claim.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you, I gave you 3 options. Guilty, not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty? Okay, the court will accept your not guilty plea. Now, you mentioned that you don't have any income or money.
I'm on disability. That's why I came to get my credit cards wrote off.
Okay, so...
I had cancer.
Are you asking the court to consider appointing an attorney to represent you?
Yes, I don't have
money. Okay, how much do you receive in disability income?
I get $1,054, and that pays my bills, and then I work at McDonald's 10 to 12 hours a week to get gas money and grocery money.
Do you support anyone else financially?
No.
Okay. Okay, I do find you qualify. We'll go ahead and appoint the public defender's office to represent you in this case.
The long and I'm scared for my life. Why can't I call the police? They're there when I call and they leave.
Okay. You're going to talk to your attorney about that, okay? Because I've just appointed an attorney to represent you, okay? The law director has submitted a written bond recommendation asking that bond be set in the amount of $5,000 personal recognizance.
I'm not going anywhere. I can't go.
Yeah, no, ma'am, you're misunderstanding what's being requested. So let me finish. The allegations contained in the bond recommendation are that on May 8th, 2025, the defendant reported an alleged offense to law enforcement knowing that such offense did not occur.
What offense are they saying?
Yeah, you can talk to your lawyer about that, okay? I'm just advising you at least this procedurally what's happening here. So, Ms. Case, are you living at Burlington Heights?
Yes.
How long have you lived there?
3 years.
I'm sorry?
3 years.
Okay.
I paid up my bills today. I can't call the police when I have an issue.
Okay, I'm going to schedule this case for a pretrial conference. Are you currently receiving this mental health or substance abuse treatment from any agency?
Yes, I have a therapist that I talk to once a month, and my doctor gives me pills.
Okay. For mental health purposes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000 personal recognizance. I will, you're not, okay, ma'am, listen to me. Let me finish and I'll explain myself. I will set this case for a pretrial conference in the near future. Now, Miss Case, you're being released on your own recognizance. You don't have to pay anything today, okay?
Okay.
When you leave the courtroom, you're going to go to the clerk's window and they're going to give you a date and time for your next hearing. Now, if you fail to appear for that hearing,
I will be here.
okay, but if you fail to appear, if you're late, if you fail to appear at all, I will issue a warrant for your arrest, and then I could order you as a penalty to pay the city of Conneaut $5,000. So it's a financial incentive for you to be here when you're supposed to be here. You understood?
Yes.
Okay, do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay, so you're going to go to the clerk's window, and they're going to give you a date and time and contact information for your attorney. Okay? This matter is concluded. Thank you.
Good morning. Looks like we have two matters here. Ms. Jonas.
Yes.
These are citations that were issued on April 21st of this year on US 131 in Gunplate Township. One is for an expired plate, and the other is for refusal of a roadside PBT. You're here on these citations to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to a citation, or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest the citation, in other words, to fight a ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Number two.
All right. And what is it you'd like to tell me?
Well, I feel like I had I don't believe the officers respected or took into account that I had a device on my leg. I couldn't walk very well. And I went through all of the requests for sobriety tests, and it was very clear that I passed these sobriety tests, and the officer kept insisting that I hadn't. And I just felt that I was being treated somewhat unfairly, and the officer could have chose just to give me a warning. He chose to give me the ticket.
A warning for what, man?
Well, I know for the expired plates.
Well, your plates are over 6 months expired at this point.
I've been unemployed.
Of the stop.
Right. I've
you
been
think
unemployed.
that's a warning?
I appreciate that.
Okay.
I've been unemployed since December. I'm currently on unemployment, getting basically $800 a month. I left someone's house because I was being groped. So it wasn't like I wanted to leave. I admitted that I had an alcoholic beverage, and it just turned into, an ordeal where I was being caught on the side of the road in the evenings, which was dangerous, over expired plates, having to go through the sobriety, and I thought I was just being treated pretty roughly in regards to the circumstances. I was
well,
not.
That's why I'm trying to just get to the bottom of it, man, where you think you should have just got a warning. A warning for what? For expired plates?
Yes, sir.
Well, ma'am, let me tell you, the grace period on that is about 30 days.
Right.
Once you get to half a year where you're driving around where you haven't renewed your plates, where the rest of us have to renew our plates, I'm not sure what good a warning would have done.
I've been fighting homelessness. The plates are $200. $200 I didn't have, and that's just the bottom line. I didn't get, I've been trying to get unemployment. It took 4 months to
Okay,
even
but those
get
are all
unemployment.
choices you made though,
I
right?
understand, Your Honor. I understand, Your
So the
Honor.
officer is supposed to say, because you don't have any money, you don't have to get the plates like the rest of us. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where this fell apart that you think that they are doing something they shouldn't have done. So you get pulled over, they have no idea who you are, right? That they just know you have an expired plate. And you wouldn't have a ticket for PBT if you'd blown into the PBT. I mean, put it this way, you admitted that you were driving and then you had been drinking, right? So you don't think it's proper for them to go through to make sure that you're not someone who's drinking and driving?
There was no cause besides, I was not driving erratically. I was driving the speed limit. I was 2 miles from my home. I left because I was in a dangerous situation. I later have
Well, let me tell you, ma'am, once they walk up to the side of your car for whatever reason, and then think that they detect the presence of alcohol, they're going to go through this whole song and dance. That's going to happen to everybody. That's not something you were targeted for or singled out for.
Well, I passed all the sobriety tests. I did everything he asked for. I was cognizant. I wasn't driving erratically.
The problem is you have a ticket because you didn't do everything you asked for, right? They asked you to submit a PBT and you said no.
Because there was no cause. Right, there was no cause for it. Alcohol is not illegal to a certain limit. I was not impaired. I passed the sobriety test.
The bottom line is, ma'am, you've admitted these citations, so there's nothing really for me to decide. I'm just trying to help you understand that, you know, this is the way everyone would be treated under these circumstances. But we're all set for what we need to do in court. You just need to make arrangements to pay those fines and costs with the district court.
Right, and now I have no more money to even get tabs. So now I have it's just compounding a bad situation. Thank you, officer. I appreciated that. And the bottom line is nobody should answer officers' questions ever. That's the lesson, ever. Thank you.
All right, man. I'm sorry you feel that way. Trust me, it would have gone worse than getting 2 citations.
I should have just never offered anything, and he would have never had cause to pull me out of the car and do a sobriety test, because I was not driving erratically, I was not speeding, and there was no cause.
Ma'am,
I will never admit anything to another police officer for the rest of my life, ever.
All right. I think that choice will go more poorly for you, you'll find, but
it won't go poorly. This went poorly, but I appreciate your honor.
All right, we're all set then. Thank you.
Someone's come online from a phone that ends 8885. What's your name, please?
George Gronvold.
Mr. Gronvold, your ticket is 25P 87946. It's a ticket for parking, prohibited or improper parking, that was issued on the 29th of March, about 5:25 in the evening. And as I'm looking at the picture, this appears to be on Washington Street and you're parked head in.
Yes. Do you see any signs that say do not park head in or back in?
There's several right in the middle of the street, and they show in the picture that's on the ticket they sent you.
No, there weren't. I looked.
Yes,
I looked around cars. I looked on where I put the money in the meter.
It even reads it on the screen.
Well, I don't know where they got that.
Sir, when you're paying for parking, the screen tells you it's back in only. Right on the payment screen. Yes, it does.
No, it didn't. I see it.
And there's signs in the middle of the street, and there's signs on every vertical post along the street.
There are not.
You are mistaken, sir. You're responsible. The fine is $50. We're done.
You.
Have a good day.
Wow.
No signs.
I so much appreciate you guys for being here for this premiere, and I hope you enjoyed this. Let's see what I can find for tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all another time.